The mammary gland is really an exocrine gland, but it's regulated by several different hormones, and so I wanted to kind of talk about all the hormones that regulate the mammary gland. So the hypothalamus releases prolactin releasing hormone and prolactin inhibiting hormone. And then prolactin acts upon the mammary gland or the breast to begin and sustain milk production. Estrogen acts upon the mammary gland for its development and its maintenance. And oxytocin acts on the mammary gland during breastfeeding to facilitate milk letdown. So gonadotropin-releasing hormone, again, from the hypothalamus, comes down to the anterior pituitary, which then secretes follicle-stimulating hormone, so FSH, which acts on the ovary, and then the ovary secretes estrogen, and then estrogen acts on the breast, and during puberty initiates breast development, and then throughout life maintains breast tissue. Prolactin-releasing hormone is again secreted by the hypothalamus into the anterior pituitary, and then prolactin, just paint a pro here, prolactin acts upon the breast during pregnancy to increase breast tissue, to initiate milk production, and to be ready for lactation once the baby is born. And then after birth, it keeps milk production going as long as breastfeeding is taking place. There is a prolactin inhibiting hormone that they didn't quite know what it was at the beginning, but they found out later that it's actually dopamine, and that is also released from the hypothalamus into the anterior pituitary, and it simply inhibits the release of prolactin, which would block any effect of prolactin on the breast because it's not being secreted. The posterior pituitary, let me take it just a little aside to remind you that all of the things I just have been talking about was anterior pituitary. The posterior pituitary also secretes a hormone that acts upon the mammary gland, and that is oxytocin. And oxytocin acts upon the breast or the mammary gland and causes milk to be pushed out of the lactiferous out of the tissues and into the ducts to allow for breastfeeding. So oxytocin causes the myoepithelial cells around the ducts to force milk into the ducts to allow for milk letdown. So in summary, what would I like you to know about the mammary gland? First, you need to know that it's an exocrine gland, but then what hormones of the hypothalamus are going to directly influence it? And then what are the 4 different hormones that are going to act on the mammary gland? And think about things from the ovary, things from the anterior pituitary. What are their actions, and then which of those hormones that acts on the mammary gland is from the posterior pituitary, and what does it do? If you have a grasp on all of these concepts, then you'll be ready for the assessment.